What's up, guys? It's Reese here, and today I am starting a series going through each year in WWE from 2010 to the current year, 2023, and then onwards, depending on how long this YouTube channel lasts. And I will do a video for each year. One video on why that year was a great year for WWE. Could be hard for some of them, especially in the 2010s. And then one video on why it was a bad year for WWE. A lot easier, I found out after doing some research. So I've got some notes in front of me. This video is going to be about 2010 and why it was a great year. And then in the coming days, I will have the video on why 2010 was a bad year. This guy and that logo, that symbol, pops up in both videos, to be honest. So, why 2010 was a great year? Let's get into this. This is going to be every little thing, title changes, moments, feuds, rivalries. They are the same thing, feuds and rivalries. Matches, events, anything I could find. If you can think of any other stuff, put it down in the comments. I'm 100% sure I haven't listed every great thing that happened in 2010. But yeah, let's get started. So, we're going to start with the Royal Rumble match. 2010 was a very good Royal Rumble match. I think this might have been the first Royal Rumble I actually watched in full when I was a kid. Either that or 2008. I think it might have been 2008 on DVD because I had them both as DVDs. But yeah, the Royal Rumble started with in the early stages you had CM Punk kind of just eliminating people one by one, and then doing his straight society promos. Great, Punk's great. We're not going to talk about all the AEW stuff and the fact that he's been fired, but we'll just move on. Focus on this is a positive video. And then you've got the Shawn Michaels story, eliminates Triple H, fights his way to the end, and then gets eliminated in a very real. I love that elimination. It just feels real. The way he's like grasping at the rope, trying to stay on, and he just falls, and then he attacks the ref. And it just builds into Mania. We will get into that Mania match soon. And then obviously you've got Edge returning from injury. His second best Royal Rumble return. And winning the match. Great return, great winner. And just overall really good match. There's not much else to say about the Royal Rumble. Let's move on to something. This isn't going to be... I've tried to keep it as much in order as possible, but there's like small moments here and there where I'm not 100% sure when they happened. I just kind of found them and added them on. So there's a certain Miz promo that I'm a big fan of. He's the United States champion at the time, and I think it's early in the year because I think it's in a feud with MVP, and I know he feuds with MVP early in the year. He is in January. So he just has the mic backstage, walks out to the ring, and he's just talking about the stuff. We've heard this like so many times now, but I think this is the first time he actually did it. He actually like talks about it openly on screen. All the stuff with like JBL, and then he just goes into a promo on MVP. It's just a really good promo. I'd recommend looking it up. Just have to search up Miz promo on MVP and JBL. That's literally all you need to do. It's on the WWE YouTube channel. But it's kind of the first legit good Miz promo. First of many. And yeah, let's go on to some stuff at WrestleMania then. Batista versus John Cena. Obviously we'll get into it and take a short second. Batista, John Cena. That feud. So I guess kind of started at the Rumble. Cena eliminated Batista. And then John Cena won the WWE title in the Elimination Chamber. Batista cashed in his being Vince's friend in the bank, I guess. I think he attacked Bret Hart for Vince, and this was his reward. So he just got a match with Cena right after the Elimination Chamber and won the title. They had a banger at WrestleMania, a very underrated match. An even better match. And it was a trilogy, Extreme Rules, and then Over the Limit, I want to say, and there was an I Quit match in there, and then this was Batista's final feud. And yeah, just 3 great matches, to be honest. It was a very underrated feud, this was. And the last with Batista's initial WWE run for his very underrated 2014 return. Hold on. We don't want to turn that off. We want to look at Wade Barrett. Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels. The second match. And the second match in the feud. And I'd say the worst of the two. But still great. Still top 5 Mania matches of all time. I think the first one is the best Mania match of all time, and this is top 5. Yeah, great feud, great match. But there's not really much else to say about it. Everyone knows this is amazing. If you haven't seen it, watch it. Watch both their matches. To be honest, watch the promo package for this match as well. It's really good. It's one of the best promo packages, alongside Daniel Bryan, the Monster, and Stone Cold and The Rock My Way. Yeah, it's just really good, to be honest. And then you've got the Shawn Michaels goodbye on the Raw after, also great. Something I am less familiar with, in terms I haven't watched this in depth. CM Punk and Rey Mysterio. I've heard a lot of good things about their feud and matches. I mean, that's not a surprise that their matches will be great. It's CM Punk and Rey Mysterio, both in their prime. It's obviously going to be great. And obviously you got straight to say, I think there was a mask versus hair match, and this is where CM Punk went bald. Yeah, just a really fun feud, to be honest. Little side note here. The rise of Evan Bourne. This is when Evan Bourne first started getting a bit more in WWE. And, I mean, when I was a kid, I loved Evan Bourne. He was just so fun to watch, wasn't he? And when he started getting a bit of a push here, getting, big matches against, Randy Orton on Raw. Just being around, the top guys constantly. It wouldn't last long. But it was fun. It was fun at the time. Rey Mysterio wins the World Heavyweight Championship. So this was in a fatal 4-way with Jack Swagger. So Jack Swagger was the champion at the time. He'll appear in the next video about why this wasn't such a great year. But Rey won it in a fatal 4-way. I want to say against Jericho. No, against. Okay, I can't remember who it was against off the top of my head. I should have written it down, to be honest. But yeah. So Rey Mysterio winning a world title is always nice, even if he doesn't really get any. They don't give him anything to work with on his reign. But him winning a world title would always be nice. Him winning any title would always be fun, to be honest. Daniel Bryan wins the US title off The Miz in a very underrated match. And, I mean, who's going to complain about Daniel Bryan winning the title even at a time before he really brought in that, amazing character work that he started showing through, his first World Heavyweight title reign, and then to another level in Team Hell No. Nexus. There they are. Well, they're the leader. Their initial debut, perfect. Well, near perfect. Maybe don't choke out Justin Roberts and get fired. But apart from that, perfect. And the build to SummerSlam in general, I feel like the people say Nexus were overrated. There was no stars in there. There were. Looking back, yeah, a lot of them haven't achieved much now. But looking back, you had Wade Barrett, who should have been a world champion. Ryback, at the time Skip Sheffield, but moved on to be Ryback, who was in the world title scene for quite a while. And whilst, in hindsight, I'm glad he didn't, because he's just a dickhead. But at the time, I think he should have won the 2013 Royal Rumble and went on to win the World Heavyweight title. And then you can do Rock Cena Punk for the WWE title at Mania, and then Ryback against whoever was the World Heavyweight champion at the time. I think it was Del Rio going in. I'd probably change that and do Ryback Big Show at Mania, which I know isn't a good match, but it's better than Del Rio Swagger. But yeah, Ryback, I think people just forget just how over Ryback was in his prime. Anyway, the rest of the Nexus: Justin Gabriel, Heath Slater, David Otunga. Maybe not David Otunga, but Justin Gabriel and Heath Slater at the very least could have been solid mid carders. This is what I'm saying. Like most of Nexus, there's not like many main eventers in there, but they all could have been solid mid carders at least. And then you could have built like Wade Barrett to be the guy. That's what it was meant to be. To elevate Wade Barrett to world title level, and then just stack up their mid card. And they just completely flopped at that. Wade Barrett ended up on the mid card, and the other guys just disappeared for a while, or got put in tag teams, or just were never used. But yeah, also, so if you're one of those guys that doesn't appreciate it, watch the segment where they debut, and then watch the final Raw before SummerSlam. That crowd, like that, when you've got the stare down between Team WWE after all the drama in the build up, Edge and Jericho being heels and trying to leave them, and then coming back, you've got the Team WWE and Nexus stare down in the ring. That stadium is shaking. Like it is crazy how into that feud everyone was. Like in quite a dull period of WWE. Like yeah, there's some good stuff there, but it generally just feels like a by the numbers. Like same sort of effect the Fiend had, I think, where in a very bad time you just had this injection of life, and then obviously similar to the Fiend, they messed it up, of course, as they seem to do through the 2010s. I think we're finally at a point where things are just good in WWE. Like yeah, there's some bad stuff, some questionable booking, but as a general, week by week, it's just enjoyable. Morrison Sheamus, not a feud many people will probably remember, but just watch some of their matches. Their matches are consistently good. The King of the Ring final, yeah, I think Morrison should have won, but it was still a good match. They had loads of matches on Raw. I think 1 or 2 matches on pay-per-view too. Just these two just have really good chemistry. For me, one of my favourite pay-per-view main events that no one ever talks about. A 6-pack challenge. I wish we did more matches like this, like big multi-man elimination matches. We just never see it anymore. I feel like, but it was a 6-pack challenge for the WWE title. Barrett, Orton, Sheamus, Edge, Jericho, Cena. I'm 99% sure that's right. I'm dying whether Cena was in there, but I'm pretty sure he was. So yeah, that was a 6. Orton wins as well, so spoiler. It was just a really fun, like, it's not like anything spectacular, it's just really fun, big names, drama with the Nexus, and then a popular winner in Orton. It came down to Orton and Sheamus, and everyone was hyped up when Barrett got eliminated, of course. It came down to Orton and Sheamus. It looked like Sheamus was going to win. Orton kicked out a bro kick, and then reversed the not the Irish curse, that's the backbreaker he does. The high cross, that's what it's called. Reverse the high cross into an RKO. And crowd loved it. The Miz wins the WWE Championship. For me, yeah, it wasn't a good reign. It wasn't an awful reign. It was a perfectly acceptable reign until he held it to Mania. If he lost it at the Royal Rumble or Elimination Chamber, it would have been good. Or, what I think should have happened, Miz doesn't main event WrestleMania because he wasn't WrestleMania main event caliber. He opens WrestleMania against John Morrison, and John Morrison wins the WWE title. Fantasy booking, obviously, that was never going to happen. And then you do Cena against someone. This is kind of where I'm going to do another series of like rebooking every WrestleMania from like 2010 or 2009. I will look into like going before that, but I don't feel my knowledge is quite at a level where I can make videos on those eras yet. On those years, not eras, I was going to say. But yeah, I think the actual moment of Miz winning the WWE title was really great. The crowd reaction was great of just annoyance. That girl's face that won a Slammy Award was hilarious. And I think it was something like new and fresh at the time that WWE needed as well. Up next, Edge wins the World Heavyweight Championship. So he won it off Kane in a pretty weird feud where Edge was the babyface but was kidnapping Paul Bearer and locking him in freezers. And overall, after Kane had a terrible feud with Undertaker, Edge as a babyface getting a world title reign, again, in hindsight, is probably better than it was, because we know he's retiring soon, so him getting a final babyface run with the title is great. But I think in the moment it's still good. Edge is always going to be popular, and I don't think Kane was. I think people were happy to see Kane drop the title at the time. I mean, Kane winning the title was a pretty cool moment, but not a necessary moment, especially off Ray. But yeah, apart from that, still great. Great moment. And just as a little final note, let me check I haven't missed anything. No. As a final note, I just want to talk about the women at the time. So to be honest, women's wrestling, I'm surprised I haven't put tag wrestling in here, to be honest. I think that was a mistake on my part, because I know I've put tag wrestling in pretty much every other year. But, so for most of the years, I'm going to put women in tag wrestling in the why it was a bad year. Not because the tag teams or women were bad, but because they're booked terribly until like 2015, 2016. That sort of time, when they start to care about it for a bit, on and off. But when I started doing that, I was like, I'm going to do an alternative and actually talk about the individuals that are in those divisions that are doing a great job with the very small amount they're given. The women in 2010 is not a stacked roster. There are some very talented women in that time that are doing pretty much everything they can to be entertaining in their 5-minute matches they were given. You've got Beth Phoenix and Natalya. That's a great thing. The very underrated Michelle McCool and Layla Cool. Melina, Eve Torres. Who else was there at the time? I think those were the ones that are getting the main spotlight out of the women's division. And then I think it's 2011 where you get they kind of get taken over by Kelly, the Bellas, stuff like that. No disrespect to any of them, but this group is much more talented at the time. I think it's later on the Bellas really step up their game. When you get the Sashas, Charlotte's coming in, those two just step up levels. But yeah, at the time, that group of women was very underappreciated. But yeah, that's going to be the end of this video on why 2010 was a great year. I feel like I wanted to do a really positive video, and I feel like I've been pretty negative about some of the booking, and every point I've made a side point about why it wasn't that great. I'll try for the 2011. I'll try to keep it more positive, because there will be a negative video after. But yeah, let me know if there's any other things you think should have been added to this video about why 2010 was a great year. And I'll see you guys in the next video explaining why 2010 was not a great year. I think there's a lot more in that video, to be honest. I think it'll be a bit longer. And we'll soon start the rebooking of WrestleMania series, where I will explain what my plan was for the Mania stuff. I might have to actually go through those Manias, because I did actually book them 6 months ago, and I've just thought about making them into YouTube videos. So I might have to edit a few of them, because I'm pretty sure that Miz Morrison thing isn't in there, and it's Rey Mysterio winning the WWE title at WrestleMania, which isn't bad, but for the time doesn't really make a lot of sense. But anyway, we'll end the video there. I'll see you in the next one. Like, subscribe, comment, share, everything. See you guys.